You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to our news. The headlines. Caritas raises red flag on the 1,600 kwacha empowerment funds. Government to act on HH as UPND complain about ZNBC conduct. Zambia records 2 COVID-19 deaths and 10 recoveries. In international news, Guinea's leader Kode accepts nomination for 3rd term. And in sports news, FIFA stakeholders meeting fails to take off due to Kalusha's unavailability. For the details, do join me shortly after this break.
Msika is here. We have you all covered with just 150 kwacha. You can advertise every day from 17 hours to 18 hours. For a 30-second ad, get the benefit of selling your products and services on Msika. For more details, call our marketing department on +260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467. Email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you a filmmaker? Well, you are exactly what we are looking for.
Camnet TV is calling on local filmmakers. For more details,
You can visit our headquarters in Ibex Hill, next to Hilltop Hospital,
contact us on
0962 444 726. Camnet TV.
not just another channel.
With the details, my name is Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga. Caritas Zambia has questioned government through the Ministry of Community Development and Social Welfare over the emergency 1,600 social cash transfer being given to people. Last month, government announced that it will start giving the emergency social cash transfer for a period of 6 months to both new and old beneficiaries to cushion the burden that has come with COVID-19. Caritas Zambia Executive Director Eugene Kabilika notes with concern that reports on the ground indicate that government is allowing people to queue for the funds amounting to 1,600, wondering what criteria they are using to identify who qualifies for the program. Mr. Kabilika has since called on government to use proper channels using their register to disburse the funds to the people. But government has clarified on the issue involving the 1,600 kwacha allegedly being given to members of the public. We have details in this report.
The famous 1,600 kwacha dispersed to the members of the public has been clarified by the powers that be. For the past 2 weeks, social media and the news has been characterized by the story of 1,600 kwacha. Members of the public who could not understand what it was all about accused government of bribing people for known reasons. Caritas Zambia has also commented on the matter, questioning government what criteria they are using to give the funds. The money which is being given under the emergency social cash transfer is being done in the open with total disregard of the COVID-19 health guidelines prescribed by the Ministry of Health.
But what we are worried about by Caritas is the new development that we have had, specifically on the radio, that there is the emergency cash transfer that is given to people who just line up in the street and give their details of NRCs as well as other details, and then in their account they are credited with 1,600. We feel that that is not the correct way of doing it, because it raises the question of, are those people that are registered in the streets vulnerable? Because that funding is made for people who are vulnerable, who cannot be able to feed themselves because they are not employed, they have no jobs, they have no sources of income. Halabaru of people lining up in the streets, registering to get 1.6. It should be well organized.
But government, through the Minister of Community Development and Social Services, Kampamba Mulenga, says the 1,600 kwacha being given to some Lusaka residents is a total amount for the period of 4 months meant for beneficiaries of COVID-19 emergency social cash transfer who are supposed to receive 400 kwacha per month. She was speaking when she featured on Tuesday edition of the Phoenix FM Let the People Talk program.
vulnerability are obviously rising every day because of the uncertainty with the COVID-19. So in the beneficiaries on the ordinary social cash transfer and those that were enumerated, it's nothing new to them. So these ones that were on the horizontal caseload, for them obviously when they did receive their 800 kwacha, they thought it is a hoax. Okay, so an additional 800 hit their account again. Wow, have you seen? I have received 1,600. Is it really true? Here's your pin. Can we try it? Oh, Mumba has received 1,600, and this excited members of the community. Indeed, government is paying out the 1,600. How then do I? So word spread like wildfire, because then the were now more competent in how to redeem their funds. So now this was something like it. Indeed, it is real. This government means well for its people. I am able, because obviously you receive 800 and your pin is blocked. You think it's a hoax. You know it is not true. So they went and they tried, and because now they were going through our district social welfare officers who were now training them on how to get their money. So word spread out, and this is the excitement that came from our members of our community, and obviously misinformation, obviously jointing, like, oh, you just go to an MTN booth, you get your SIM card, and you're able to receive your 1,600 kwacha. Yeah, I think this.
Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Former Movement for Multi-Party Democracy MMD Chairman for Energy Tobias Kafumukache has challenged the party leadership not to allow itself to be distracted by external forces. Mr. Kafumukache says internal fights in the party are injurious to members who he says are usually watching from the political fence. He says the party is still popular to the Zambian people, adding that if the party is well organized, it has the potential to bounce back in power. Speaking in an interview with Camnet TV on Tuesday, Mr. Kafumukache says the functionalism being championed in the party is within the top leaders, who he says are only interested in their positions.
As you are aware that we have been going through wrangles from 2012. And these misgivings have not ended at all. And it is very sad, and my heart is bleeding, to notice that the current membership or leadership of the Movement for Multi-Party Democracy has failed the membership of the general membership. Because this factionalism is actually just among the top leaders who are in the quest for power of the institution, the power of leadership in the party, at the national executive. Now, in this case and scenario, they are not the first ones to encounter such a problem in the party. We had Mwanawasa and Chiruba. They resolved their issue amicably. Courts will not solve a problem of a civil society group. It takes members themselves to come together and resolve and dialogue. I am appealing to Comrade Mutati, I'm appealing to Comrade Mumba, Nevers, who is the current president of the movement, and I'm appealing to Comrade Nakachinda that these three members, posterity will judge them. Because in the history of our party, these three members are the ones who are going to be responsible should the soul of our movement die.
Government says it is following with keen interest revelations being made by Forum for Democracy and Development leader Edith Nawakwi against United Party for National Development UPND President Hakainde Hichilema's involvement in the privatization process. Information and Broadcasting Services Minister Dora Silia says if the allegations are found to be true, the government will take the necessary steps against Mr. Hichilema on behalf of the Zambian people. In various media engagements, Ms. Nawakwi has accused Mr. Hichilema of failing to declare interest in some national assets which were being sold by the state, which he later sold to himself, allegations he has constantly denied. Mr. Hichilema has on several occasions asked any Zambian with evidence of such allegations to present it to any court of law for prosecution, but so far no one has come forward. The UPND leader has also floated a 3-bedroomed house to anyone with evidence of having dubiously benefited from the sale of the national assets, but again no one has come forward. Meanwhile, the UPND has accused the Zambian National Broadcasting Corporation, ZNBC, of launching an onslaught in demonizing its leader Hakainde Hichilema without giving him an opportunity to defend himself. In a media statement, UPND National Chairperson Mutale Nalumango says the right to reply or have one-sided story heard is a fundamental prerequisite in the law of national justice and fairness, especially in a democracy. On August 30th, 2020, at 20 hours, ZNBC conducted an interview which featured Opposition Forum for Democracy and Development FDD leader Edith Nawakwi, where she publicly accused Mr. Hichilema of benefiting from the sale of national assets. Ms. Nalumango says the UPND was dismayed to note that the entire program centered on discrediting its president, insinuating he had acquired his wealth by less than honorable means. The party is also concerned that ZNBC has continued carrying other subsequent news items around the same issues without offering the UPND leadership the right to reply. And speaking on the same issue, the Zambia Local Authorities, Retirees and Pensioners Association, through its president Matthews Nyekalala, wonders why the issue of privatization only resurfaces during elections. He says it is unfair to subject someone who merely asked to help in evaluating companies and leaving out the people who sold the companies, who are Ms. Nawakwi and the MMD government.
Over the years, I've noted with dismay the discussion between Nawakwi and HH, where Nawakwi portrays herself as the holy of holies and HH as a sinner. You may wish to know, Kalan, that this matter has been resurfacing every general elections. Ms. Nawakwi was a Minister of Finance and Planning under Chirua. What happened? We saw quarrels. Nawakwi was quarreling with Chirua. Nawakwi is fond of riding on other people's backs. This time, Nawakwi, the reason why she's raising dust against the HH, she has seen two or three opportunities. At the Bank of Zambia, there are issues there. She thinks she can go there. Minister of Finance, people are talking about something. She sees that there is an opportunity.
The Young African Leaders Initiative, YALI, has petitioned Chief Justice Irene Mambilima to open an inquiry into the privatization of national assets by the MMD government that has characterized national debate. YALI President Andrew Ntewewe says the privatization issue needs to come to an end, adding that it is long overdue. He explains that a lot of people were involved in the privatization process, adding that such people ought to be summoned so that the matter can be put to rest. Mr. Ntewewe says this matter is taking the country nowhere, charging that time is being wasted on discussing it instead of attending to most pressing issues.
The reason for this destitution and poverty is because of privatization. And because this is a matter that has been in public domain for a very long time, we want to believe as a Young African Leaders Initiative that it's very important that the matter be brought to a closure. The only way it can be brought to a closure is when the matter is effectively probed through a commission of inquiry. And as a result of that, as a Young African Leaders Initiative, we are petitioning the Chief Justice of the Republic of Zambia with a view that she can set up the commission of inquiry into the privatization to look at the people that benefited. We're also alive to the fact that there are a number of companies, a number of individuals that are alive, apart from Hakainde Hichilema, who also participated in this process. We want to believe that those people can actually help with adequate information as to how this matter reached this level. But we also want to be very clear that those that are found wanting have to be prosecuted. Those that took advantage, pecuniary advantage, or fiduciary advantage as a result of the sale of these companies must be dealt with. Additionally, we also believe that companies that were sold illegally and lawfully and constitutionally must be repossessed by the state. And the idea is very simple, is that you cannot steal from the people of the Republic of Zambia and get away with it. You cannot steal from the people of Zambia and at the end of the day claim, no, these people were sleeping, they did not do the correct thing. That is absolutely unacceptable. For us as YALI, we want to believe that this matter has been brought to an end, and the only way to bring it to an end is through a commission of inquiry, which we believe that the Chief Justice is able to do.
For now, we take a break. Do stay with us as we have more interesting stories lined up for you.
I have used Oracle Pure Glycerin for 2 years now. It has really worked for me. It has cleared all the black spots on my face. It has restored my skin beauty. It also smoothens the skin. Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for perfect skin. If it's not Oracle Glycerin, then it's not Pure Glycerin.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customerservice@lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. The Zambian government has turned to artists to help in the fight against COVID-19 through dissemination of COVID-19 messages through their works. Health Minister Chitalu Chilufya says artists are now needed more than ever before in the country as COVID-19 continues to claim more lives. Speaking at the daily COVID-19 update, Dr. Chitalu Chilufya, who was in the company of comedian Shimumbi, encouraged the artists to help government spread the word on the pandemic so that the public are in the know. Here's a report.
Government has continued to make strides in the fight against COVID-19, which paralyzed almost all sectors of the economy, but is slowly opening up. During the daily update of COVID-19, Health Minister Dr. Chitalu Chilufya said President Lungu is concerned about the surging cases of the virus. The minister also called on public influencers, such as the artists, to help government in the fight against the pandemic. The famous Shimombi and Bwananjombe were a part of the briefing. Dr. Chilufya says artists should use their talents to sensitize the public on the virus.
We would like to focus our attention on two major factors. One, prevention of COVID-19 in the communities. And because of the multi-sectoral response and the community engagement, artists have come on board to support the COVID-19 response, and we are joined today by Shimumbi and Zulu to come and give their perspective.
In the community, they are not taking this COVID-19 seriously. Actually, I was supposed to come with Honorable, but just some meters away. Now, I'm going to mask. So I said, no, you go back. And these are not times where one can even forget a mask. Let's mask up, and in our communities, people have taken it so light, and this is a Zambian way where we don't take things seriously. Because I've seen even where but this COVID thing, it's real. When figures are being given here by the Honorable, these are real figures.
There are some people who are the disease in Majoxa. And by now, I'm sure they have seen to say COVID is sick. And there are people who are Oromunge na Pamamo, for example, no Varanika Maski Mupangantot, no Sambani Kumanja, Oromunga no Wafuno Wafuta. But the reality of the matter is that we can hear from Doc here the cases. And we can even get the information to say Vakufa. So the best we can do, especially in Cambodia, that one we need to put the pahod. Please let us mask up, and the most important thing, turn to this Kumanja.
Meanwhile, the country has, in the last 24 hours, added on the stats of COVID-19 cases, with at least 284 new cases being recorded countrywide.
In the last 24 hours, we have confirmed 284 new COVID-19 cases, including one health facility death out of 2,191 tests conducted. We also recorded one BID at Ndola Teaching Hospital that tested positive. The cumulative number of cases now stands as 12,381 cases out of the 117,761 tests done so far. Deaths now stand at 290, and those that are COVID deaths are 96, and those that are COVID related deaths are 194.
Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
And still in the news, the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops, ZCCB, has noted with concern that people are taking the COVID-19 pandemic casually despite many deaths recorded since the outbreak. Speaking when he received a donation of assorted food items and other non-food items, Monze Bishop Moses Hamugole says people do not need to wait for their relatives to get infected for them to believe that the disease is real. And handing over the donation on behalf of C&S, George Chela says his organization stands firm on advancing the Catholic Church's genuine stand for the weak and disadvantaged population in the country. Here's a report.
The call to action by many leaders to various sectors to join in the fight against COVID-19 has begun yielding results, with private entities donating assorted items to help relieve the burden of the pandemic, both on the frontliners and the victims. Tuesday morning, the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops received the fourth donation from C&S Investment Limited, who have been at the core of advancing the Catholic Church agenda of helping the vulnerable, especially now during the pandemic. Receiving the donation on behalf of the Catholic bishops, Monze Bishop Moses Hamongole says the COVID-19 has negatively affected many people, putting their lives in dire need of help, such as food, among other protective items.
Has been with us for some time, should not become an excuse for the majority of us to relax and to fail to adhere to the instructions by the health institutions and even the church on how we can help overcome the pandemic. As long as the pandemic continues to ravage the members of our communities, the impact will not be only on health, but also on socio-economic and political sectors as well. Most of our people are feeling the impact of the pandemic, both at home and at work. There are some who no longer have jobs, as their employers have sent them back home. In the meantime, the cost of living has gone very high. According to the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, report released in July this year, the cost of the basic needs and nutrition basket for the month of June was at 7,060 kwacha for a family of 5 members here in Lusaka. The question, of course, we can ask ourselves is, how many Zambian families can afford that kind of a budget?
And representing C&S Investment Limited, George Chela has committed to continue helping the church in reaching out to many lives.
Action to bring about a more equal society, and practically demonstrated this by clothing, feeding, healing, and educating those who otherwise would not have access to any reasonable fulfillment of such needs. It is for this reason that we feel inspired and motivated to partner with the Catholic Church in our continued efforts to contribute towards addressing one of the worst pandemics in recent history, the COVID-19. Which has completely turned the world on its head and continue to threaten further disruption to human life and endeavors. It goes without saying that the poorer members of our communities are the worst affected, yet the least likely to have means to navigate the pandemic. That is why, as C&S Investments Limited, we decided to donate the following quantities of foodstuffs, hygienic products, and other items for the fourth time. 2,000 by 10 kg bags of meal.
Among the donated items include soaps, hand sanitizers, and food items which will be shared among Catholic health centers, among other institutions. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Medical for Quality Healthcare in Zambia has expressed shock with reports that some private hospitals and clinics are still delaying to refer suspected COVID-19 cases to testing centers given the current status quo. Institution Director General Quincy Mwabu has since warned all private health facilities that are doing this to stop immediately and refer all suspected corona cases to treatment centers. Dr. Mwabu is afraid that if this behavior is left unchecked, coronavirus cases will remain to be persistent. He adds that if these health facilities will continue on this dangerous path, the institution will be forced to engage the Health Professions Council of Zambia, HPCZ, so that these institutions can have their licenses revoked.
In Zambia, we are very disappointed and we are very shocked with the report that we are receiving that some clinics and hospitals, especially private hospitals, they are still delaying some patients who have got COVID-19 to the testing centers, which is very disappointed because it will be very difficult to suppress COVID-19 in our country if we will continue working in this path. And I would like to warn all those private hospitals and clinics who are walking in this dangerous path to stop doing that, because we are going to lose a lot of lives if we continue walking this dangerous path. And if they continue doing the same thing, we have no option, but we are going to engage the HPCZ so that their license can be revoked. And we are appealing to the general public, please, let's all follow the guidelines so that we can suppress the virus in our country. Let's always mask up. Let's observe social distancing. Let's be washing our hands regularly and thoroughly. Let's stay home. That will be definitely help our homes and our country. So let's stay home if we want to suppress the virus. Let's unite. Once we unite, it will be very difficult to suppress COVID-19 in our country. Thank you.
The Zambia Medicines Regulatory Authority, ZAMRA, has embarked on pharmacovigilance orientation and advocacy for healthcare workers in public and selected healthcare facilities across the country. The advocacy is being undertaken in order to build capacity of healthcare workers and strengthen the activity of safety monitoring of medicines in Zambia. The authority hopes that this will also contribute towards timely decision making and intervention on adverse medicine events through early detection, casualty assessment and prevention. Team leader for the Solwezi District Orientation, who is also ZAMRA Drug Information, Dr. Alfred Mangani, has described the response from healthcare workers as overwhelming and motivating. Pharmacovigilance is a component of the continuum of healthcare aimed at preventing harm that may result from the use of medicines and allied substances. This is contained in a video statement issued to Camnet TV by ZAMRA Senior Public Relations Officer Christabel Mutale.
We have embarked on pharmacovigilance orientation and advocacy for healthcare workers in public health facilities as well as in other selected health facilities. So the advocacy is being undertaken in order to build a capacity of healthcare workers in pharmacovigilance so as to strengthen the activity of safety monitoring of medicines in Zambia. So this is also important as it will contribute towards timely decision making and intervention on adverse events through early detection, causality assessment, as well as prevention. So we already have a team that is currently in Solwezi, and the team leader for this particular group is the ZAMRA Drug Information Officer, Dr. Alfred Mangani, who has since described the exercise as overwhelming and motivating, which is something exciting for us as ZAMRA. So Dr. Mangani has added that this particular exercise is important as it will help in ensuring that safety information, including adverse drug reactions, product quality problems, and medication errors are promptly reported to the authority. So as you may be aware, pharmacovigilance is basically a component.
You're watching Camnet TV World News. For now, we take a break, but do stay tuned as we have international and sports news.
To create a positive difference in people's lives, one must first understand the way people live. At Savenda, we're here for our community, our partners, and our future, as a nation and as a continent.
Back in 1997, we decided we were going to create this family journey into a bigger opportunity, and created a business called Savenda, which meant Save Nations to Develop Africa.
It's always important to give back to the people. The government cannot do everything, but as business entities, we'll be able to reach a lot of people.
From our humble beginnings in the telecoms and mining sectors to our work in energy and development projects, we know how important it is to be true to our roots.
Our services have to be diversified so that we don't depend on one income stream. Back in the village, I was growing up hunting and doing everything that a village boy would like to do. When you're hunting, you don't depend on one trap, for example. You have to have many traps. So those survival skills brought into the business created opportunities that we learned from a young age that you can't survive with just one product. Savenda Group involves Savenda Management, which is a consulting, Savenda Express, which is a corporate branding company, Savenda Electric, which is a manufacturer of energy-saving bulbs, Savenda General Insurance, which is a general insurance company, Savenda Fresh Produce, Cyber Africa, which is a center for just dealing with cyber security.
Now, Savenda is combining local knowledge with international expertise. It's time to be a part of Zambia's rising success and Africa's exciting future.
We are a gateway into Africa, and now we are praying with global companies who are coming to Zambia for opportunities and to look for companies that are homegrown, and we are proud to be one of those.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. In international news, the president of Guinea, Alpha Condé, has accepted his party's nomination to seek a controversial third term. Mr. Condé, who was first elected in 2010, pushed through a constitutional change in a referendum in March, which allowed him to stand for a third term. The vote was boycotted by the opposition and sparked mass protests. In early August, Guinea's ruling party nominated the 82-year-old president to represent it in the elections in October, but at the time he made no formal response. His efforts to stay in power have raised concern. Guinea will go the way of other African countries whose rulers have refused to step down after their mandates expired. And moving on in sports news, the Football Association of Zambia, FAZ, has announced the postponement of the stakeholders meeting with FIFA and the aggrieved parties. All the parties, including the Minister of Sports, Emmanuel Mulenga, National Sports Council of Zambia Chairperson Patrick Mutimushi, and FAZ President Andrew Kamanga, were set for the meeting, but the aggrieved parties, who include former FAZ President Kalusha Walia, have asked for more time, stating that they are not ready for the engagement. FIFA chief member Venon Musongombwe Associates announced that the meeting had been deferred to a later date. FIFA had set Tuesday, September 1st, 2020 as the date for the resolution of the FAZ wrangles. Notice of the virtual meeting was set to all parties on Friday, August 28th, 2020 to enable them to provide credentials for access to the meeting. However, the aggrieved parties demanded for more time before they could be ready for the FIFA mediated meeting. The meeting was expected to resolve disputes around the contested electoral process. FAZ General Secretary Adrian Kashala says FAZ will wait for FIFA to set a fresh date. That sports item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a look at the headlines once again. Caritas raises red flag on the 1,600 empowerment funds. Government to act on HH as UPND complain about ZNBC conduct. Zambia records 2 COVID-19 deaths and 10 recoveries. In international news, Guinea's leader Godé accepts nomination for 3rd term. And in sports news, FIFA stakeholders meeting fails to take off due to Kalusha's unavailability. The Camnet World Verse of the Day is coming from the book of Romans 12 verse 12, and it reads, "Rejoice in hope and be patient in tribulation, be in constant prayer." This has been Camnet TV World News with me, your anchor, Liseli Kanyanga Mubanga. God bless.